You know that panicked feeling when your car breaks down or the holidays arrive and suddenly your entire budget explodes? That feeling exists because you're treating predictable expenses like emergencies, and there's a dead simple solution called sinking funds that most people have never heard of. A sinking fund is basically a mini savings account for specific future expenses that you know are coming but don't happen every month. Think about it. Your car will need new tires eventually. The holidays happen every single year. You'll need to replace your phone at some point. Your insurance comes due. Your pet will need vet care. These aren't surprises, they're just irregular. But most people only budget for monthly bills and then act shocked when these expenses show up. Here's how sinking funds work. First, list out all those irregular expenses you can predict over the next year. Car maintenance, gifts, annual subscriptions, vacation, home repairs, whatever applies to your life. Second, estimate how much each will cost annually. Maybe car stuff is $1,200, holiday gifts are $600, a small vacation is $2,000. Third, divide each amount by 12 to find your monthly contribution. That $1,200 for car repairs becomes $100 per month. Now here's the magic part. You set aside that money every single month into separate savings buckets, either literal separate accounts or just categories in your budget app. When your car needs work, you're not scrambling or putting it on a credit card, you're just pulling from your car's sinking fund that's been quietly growing. The psychological shift is enormous because you stop feeling like money is constantly being ripped away from you unexpectedly. Instead, you're calmly executing a plan. Let me give you a real example. Sarah was making decent money but always felt broke because something always came up. Her solution had been putting emergencies on credit cards and staying in debt. She started sinking funds for 6 categories: car maintenance, gifts, annual insurance, vet bills, home repairs, and vacation. Her monthly contributions totaled $350. Yes, that's money she couldn't spend on other things. But here's what happened. Within 6 months, when her car needed $500 in work, she had $300 already saved in her car fund and only had to find $200 extra, which she pulled from one vacation fund contribution. No credit card, no panic, no derailing her whole budget. By the end of the year, she took a paid-for vacation with cash she'd saved and bought holiday gifts without debt for the first time in years. The secret is being brutally honest about what expenses actually happen in your life. Most people lie to themselves and pretend they'll spend nothing on gifts or their car will magically never need repairs. Track what you actually spent last year on irregular categories and use that as your baseline. If you spent $1,500 on gifts, budget for $1,500 this year through monthly sinking fund contributions. Start small if you need to. Even 3 sinking funds covering your most common budget destroyers makes a massive difference. Car repairs, medical co-pays, and gifts are a great starting trio. You can add more categories as you get comfortable. Use separate high-yield savings accounts if you want physical separation, or use budgeting apps that let you assign jobs to dollars within one account. Some people literally use envelopes with cash. The method doesn't matter, the intentionality does. One mistake people make is raiding sinking funds for non-emergencies. Your vacation fund isn't for impulse purchases, it's for vacation. Treat these buckets as sacred, because the moment you start borrowing from them for random wants, the whole system falls apart and you're back to manufactured emergencies. Another tip is to build your sinking funds into your budget before your fun money. This is a need, not a want, because these expenses will happen whether you plan for them or not. The only question is whether you'll handle them with calm savings or panicked debt. If your budget is super tight, you might need to cut other areas or find ways to increase income, but ignoring predictable expenses doesn't make them disappear. It just makes them more painful when they arrive. Sinking funds also work beautifully with actual emergency funds. Your emergency fund covers true unknowns like job loss or major medical events. Your sinking funds cover the stuff you know is coming but choose to ignore. Together, they make you basically unshakable financially. Imagine going into next year knowing that every predictable expense already has money attached to it. That's the power of this simple system. Most wealth-building advice focuses on investing and earning more, but you can't build wealth if irregular expenses keep nuking your progress. Sinking funds are the unsexy foundation that makes everything else possible. Start today by listing 5 expenses that always seem to ambush you, calculate how much you need monthly for each, and set aside that money before you spend on anything else. You'll feel broke for a month or two as you adjust, but then you'll feel rich every time an expense hits and you handle it like it's nothing, because you planned for it like an adult.